All right, let's talk about systems thinking. Now, I know what you might be picturing: complex charts, jargon, something just for experts. But we're going to flip that on its head today. We're going to look at it not as some technical tool, but as a creative quality that's fundamental to how we all think. This right here, this quote gets at a feeling I bet a lot of you know. You've put in the effort, right? You've mapped everything out, you see the big picture, you get how it all connects, and then nothing. Nothing actually changes. You're still in the same spot. So the big question for us today is, why does that happen? What are we missing? Okay, so to figure out what's missing, we've got to start with how we usually think about this stuff. Let's dig into the typical way we frame systems thinking. And this is probably the version you know, right? You hit a complex problem, and the go-to move is to map it, diagnose it, find those little leverage points, and then, try to control it. It's this very detached, analytical thing. We're standing on the outside, looking in, treating the whole situation like a machine that just needs a good fixing. Look, that fix-it approach isn't totally useless, but it's got a huge blind spot. It makes us feel like we're just spectators, engineers staring at a blueprint. It completely leaves out the fact that we are part of the system we're trying to change. And because of that, it often leaves us cold. You end up with this beautiful, perfect map, but absolutely no desire to take the first step. So if that's the problem, what's the solution? Well, this is where we introduce a totally different way of looking at it. What if systems thinking isn't a tool at all? What if it's a creative variable, something that isn't just a method we use, but a quality that changes the very nature of our thought? Yeah, check this out. This is a whole different ballgame. The key words here are perception, interdependence, and coherent emergence. We're not talking about diagnosis and control anymore. It's not something you do to a problem, it's a way of seeing, a way of perceiving the web of connections that's already there. And the goal? It's not to force a solution, but to nurture the conditions so something new and, well, coherent can actually emerge on its own. This is the big shift. We're not trying to find the one right answer like we're solving a puzzle. It's more like we're trying to be good gardeners. We're cultivating a way of thinking that makes sure our ideas have roots, that they're grounded enough to actually survive out there in the real world. It's about making our thinking viable, not just making it clever. And this is where things get really interesting, because this approach doesn't kill creativity. It actually partners with it. It's all about grounding the imagination. So on one hand, you've got what you could call generative framing. This is the wild, creative part. It's our imagination, our ability to dream up new ways of seeing things, to forge new paths that open up whole new worlds of possibility. It's the spark, the big idea. But a spark can just flash and then die out. That's where systems thinking comes in. It's not there to put out the fire. It's the anchor. It brings in that dose of sober realism. It makes us ask the tough questions about context, about consequences. It's the force that stops a brilliant idea from just becoming a daydream, a beautiful castle in the sky with no way to get there. I love this way of putting it. It's a true partnership. Your imagination is the trailblazer, the one who hacks a new path through the dense forest and says, hey, we can go this way. But then systems thinking is the crew that comes in behind, making that path actually walkable. They're clearing the stones, building the bridges, making sure it's stable and that it actually leads somewhere you want to be. You absolutely need both. Okay, so let's tie this all together. What's the ultimate point of looking at systems thinking this way? Really, its main job is to keep emergence viable, to make sure that the new things that bubble up from our creativity aren't so fragile they die the second they hit the real world. You can think of it as the responsible friend to your wild, creative side. Its job is to provide a safe container for brand new ideas to grow. It's the one that brings in that necessary, sober realism. It helps us develop an ecological sense, basically an awareness of how our idea is going to affect everything around it. And yeah, it makes us face the hard stuff like unintended consequences, feedback loops, and how things will play out over time. And really, that's the heart of it. This isn't about letting the analytical mind crush our creativity. Not at all. It's about finding a balance. In this new frame, systems thinking is the partner that supports our most generative ideas, giving what we dream up a real shot at actually working. So I'll leave you with this question to chew on. What if the whole point of thinking isn't to be right, to find that one perfect silver bullet answer? What if the real goal is just to stay in a healthy, ongoing relationship with reality? When you start to think about it that way, well, it kind of changes everything, doesn't it?